Saturday morning. We come in here and we make sure that we update all of you so that you know what's going on. We update our children, our teenagers, young adults, parents, because we want you to know of every opportunity, every activity that's happening, and so that you can participate and ensure that your children get the best of every opportunity. I am Zanella Claxton, alongside my co-host,
DeAndre Daniel.
And DeAndre, this morning we have to look at, because there are two things in the air right now. There's
science fair.
Well, three things in the air. It's sports term. But I think your school might have already had their event. Yeah. So we'll talk a bit about your event, and then we'll give updates as to what the other sporting events are. And then, of course, we'll talk a bit about next week, because there's a special day next week where everybody goes crazy because they get a mufti or dress-up day. And we'll talk a bit more about Valentine's Day, as we try to do every year, to raise an appreciation and an awareness, especially among the children, as to how this day should be treated. And we'll give some updates on that as well. But this week, we had a very active week. The high schools had their career activities. So the high schools, the two public high schools, Charlestown Secondary School and Gingerland Secondary School, had their career fair and job preparation activities. Gingerland Secondary had a career fair all day on Wednesday, and then Charlestown Secondary had their job preparation workshop, which I had the pleasure of stopping by and interacting with the students for a little while on Thursday. And then on Friday, we had the handing over ceremony of the keys for the new wing of the Ivor Walters Primary School. And the school was able to get 3 new classrooms, a counselor's wing, and some additional restrooms. And so it was also a privilege to be there to witness that. And we want to say congratulations to all those persons who were involved in getting that work done, so that the students could have that additional space. We believe in child-friendly schools. We believe in the effective schools. We want to make sure that the students do their best and give of their best, as we try to give them the best as well. So at the end of the handing over ceremony, though, as many of the schools have been having so far, the Ivor Walters Primary School then went into their cross-country event. And so it was, as I said, a very, very active week, and many of the schools will continue to have such activities because it is what we call the sports season. Very early on, I also want to share with you the dates for the upcoming activities and events. We have the next big sports meet on the 20th of February, and that's Charlestown Primary School. Then GSS follows on the 21st, and VOJN Primary the 22nd, 26th Elizabeth Pemberton Primary, 28th Cicely Brown Integrated. The 1st of March we're going to see Ivor Walters Primary. The 5th of March we're going to see St. James Primary. The 6th VNJ's Preschool and St. Thomas's Primary School. The 7th Joycelyn Liebert Primary School and Nevis Academy. The 8th Maud Cross Prep and Gingerland Pre. And then Charlestown Secondary will have their sports meet on the 10th of March, followed by Naomi's Daycare on the 14th, and then Combermere Pre on the 15th, Montessori Academy also on the 15th, Inez France Preschool the 22nd, the Vernon Lou Preschool the 25th, and then to culminate the school level sports meets, we'll have Charlestown Preschool on the 29th. Also worthy of note, please put this on your calendars now, that we will have the Nevis High School Championship on the 16th and 17th of March. That weekend, the 16th and 17th of March, we're going to have the Nevis High School Championship. And then on April 3rd, we will have the Gulf Insurance Interprimary Championship. So we have a long list of activities in terms of the sports meets that will be happening, and so we wanted to share those with you so that you can support, you can participate, make sure that you're part of the activities. And as I say all the time, your presence is always important because it helps the students to know that there is buy-in and that what they are doing is important. And when they get a chance to see that, they would they would continue to put their all out to ensure that they get as much as possible out of it. We also had a few Black History Month activities this week, and some will continue next week. We had Black History Month activities from, a special one took place yesterday. The VOJN Primary School had a two-part activity yesterday, which I found to be very, very interesting. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go, but the concept, and from all reports, it was very interesting. The first part, the students went to Cuttle Church, and they got a chance to learn more about the site, about the history of Cuttle Church, and then they journeyed back to the school where they were able to have interactions with some of the seniors, and thanks to the seniors division of the social services department and other persons in the community who gave them an idea of what life in Nevis was like in the good old days. And I'm one who believes that we should push our history during February as well, so that our students understand our history and they end up getting a sense of pride when you think about our Nevis history. So kudos and commendations to the VOJN Primary School also for that well-executed, well-planned out, well-thought-out activity. As I said, I really think that it reflects what we are looking for in terms of empowering our children and our young people within our culture so that they can have an appreciation of who we are. Next week, on February 13th, we will have the primary schools tourism quiz. And we want to encourage all of you to go out and support the students as well in their endeavors as they demonstrate their knowledge in the not just local tourism and culture, but there are elements also which speak to the Caribbean regional tourism and culture. And so go out, support the various schools, support the students so that you can be part of that process. I believe in supporting everything you do. DeAndre, it always feels good when your mommy shows up when you have the activities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, always feels really good. And so we want to encourage all of you to go out and support every single time you have a chance, because the more you get to support, the better it is for the students, because they get to see that you really see value in what they're doing. And I don't know how it feels when nobody shows up versus when somebody shows up for you, but I know for some children, they get a little disappointed when nobody shows up, especially when some other parents are showing up, but your parents are not.
Yeah.
What do you think, DeAndre?
True.
It happens to you?
No.
Your mommy generally shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a mommy who shows up to everything, but and it always feels good. When you get older, you start to be like, mommy, you could miss some, you could miss some. But really and truly, even when they say that, they still feel good when you come. It's a developmental thing where they think, maybe I'm getting too old for mommy to be coming around, but they're still grateful for your presence. And so please, parents, support them. I'm still seeing the parents out at the cross countries, no shoes in hand, running at their hats out. And it from school, it doesn't matter which school you go to, the parents are there in everything, supporting when it comes to the athletics, when it comes to the cross country meets, the community is there. I see people riding bikes alongside the athletes, supporting them. And we want to see you just the same way in general other activities as well. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. An hour passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Oh, gather round, an adventure is always waiting. This storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Let's start the show. Youth on the go. Let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers via Von Radio's Facebook page, as well as Von Radio's YouTube channel. We want to welcome you to another edition of Youth on the Go. Every Saturday morning, we're here with you. We share lots of activities. We give recaps because we want you to know what's going on so that our children, our young people, all of our people can access opportunities and go and develop. I am Zanella Claxton alongside my co-host.
DeAndre Daniel.
And DeAndre, just before the break, I was giving a big update of things that happened this week, especially as it relates to our schools and the activities which are happening in the school. There are so many schools, there's so many things happening every day, and so many different schools having different activities that it's always good for the general public to know. So just in case they don't know and they want to support, they have that chance as well. We were talking about cross countries and sports meets just before the break as well, and I know that you have your own input because you would have already had your sports meet, and so if you can just quickly recap, what house are you on? How was the experience? I know it was a new school. How did that feel for you?
Okay, so we had, like, it was a little different. You see, when you usually line up with your colors and, like, go around the thing matching, we didn't do that. Like, we lined
Oh,
up.
you didn't have a match pass?
No.
Oh,
We lined up in our colors, but other than doing the match pass, like, we did exercises to not get cramps and so.
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had like a long line, and
Uh-huh.
like we have 4 colors in the school:
Okay, what colors?
red, green, yellow, and blue.
Okay.
Yeah. So we line up in 4 lines, and then teacher would say what kind of exercise, and we'd have to do it.
So do you
I would have to
regularly...
be in sync
What?
to get more points.
That's kind of cool, though. Do you regularly get, you have regular PE school time?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mondays and Tuesdays.
Oh, so did you get a chance to practice beforehand
Yeah.
to do the drills?
Every day.
Or you did them together?
Not every, sometimes, but not most times, like the whole school.
Oh, the whole school did rehearsals? Oh, that's kind of neat. So what kind of exercises did you have to do?
Jumping jacks, squats, I forget something,
You had to do lunges or you put your feet down?
yeah, lunges and
Did you have to do push-ups and sit-ups?
those are part of the sports day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
There's more, but I can't remember.
Okay, that was just fine. But that's interesting. I wonder. I would love to see a video.
It's weird though because it looks like the teacher said we were supposed to be in sync.
Mhm.
She only gave us the point because it looks good. Like ours. Every time someone hands goes up, you see like like all the people start moving like that.
Yes.
You know, like when somebody put their hand and like in the shows, then you see a hand like going up, and then it
coming
comes
down,
like
the
a wave.
wave.
Yeah, it looks just like that.
Really? So did you get to see a video?
Yeah, kind of.
Like, kind of.
Yeah, it was
What
weird.
color? What house did you say you were on? You
Red.
didn't say. You were on red.
Yeah.
Was that a house you were on before? No,
No, orange.
you were on orange. Okay. So it was a new experience. It was different. So it started off different from the time you got there, and then how did it go for the rest of the day?
We did field events, little sit-ups. Wait,
So you got
sit-up-
points for that?
Wait, yeah. What's the sit-ups again? Sit-ups were like 1
Yes,
and then
yes,
2.
yes.
Yeah, I got 62 sit-ups. Came third. because-
Oh, so it was a sit-up competition.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I got 62 sit-ups. Like the boy who came first, he got a 110.
What? So how do they measure it though?
Count. Like
So there's one judge, one person looking, or there are many
No,
people looking?
there's it's a high school is doing it. So like they're gonna like time you, and then time you for 1 minute, and then they're gonna count how much sit-ups you can do in 1 minute.
That is really awesome.
Yeah. Then we left from there, and then we went to throwing. I don't like my age for throwing. I'm not like I'm too old to do throwing.
Okay.
So
What
we
do
did
they throw?
what do you call it?
A
They,
big,
they just
ball?
throw, they throw is it called cricket? No, baseball ball.
Baseball?
Yeah, but I had to do the what do you call it?
Shot put?
Yeah,
Oh, the heavy one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Came
I
first
never,
for that.
you got first for that? Let me tell you a secret, which is not going to be a secret after we're done, because I'm talking on live radio. But I never made standard. I could never get the shot put thrown for the life of me. People tried. I mean, for 5 years, they really tried to get me to do it right, and I still don't think for some reason, I didn't grasp how to hold and throw it properly, so it would never go very far. And they say it's a technique. Maybe I tell people I just think maybe I don't have as much upper body strength. But that's good that you placed first in that. I'm sure you were proud.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, we went to skipping. Came first in skipping, like 96. And then
Same thing, they time it for 1 minute?
yeah.
Okay.
Then we went to the 100 meters, and then we ran up to the finish line. Came second. And then they were like, "Oh, you didn't know that fast." I said, "Yes, it's just because I practice at school, but I have all my gym pants and I fell." Cause you know when you're running,
You're not supposed to run in jeans anyway.
yeah, and like when
It's
you're
not best
running, you try to
at times.
stretch your legs,
And the jeans
but
are too tight.
yeah, so the back foot come back and then hit you, and then you fell. Yeah. So they say, "Yes, it's always just my gym pants," and I said, oh, "Okay." So came second for that, and then we had dribbling. We had to do dribbling and basketball jumping, and then we had 2 basketballs. We had to bounce it around the cones and then go back, and then we had it 200 meters. I didn't get to run that one.
Okay.
I was supposed to run it, but I had to go somewhere at the. Where I had to go? The place. Oh, to get a smoothie.
That's,
Yeah, they said it was at 2:45, but
What
they
time
did
did
it
the
at
meet start?
2:25. 12.
12?
Yeah.
And it was finished by what time?
6.
Okay, that's not bad. Not
So,
bad. How was the turnout? How was the support from family and friends, generally?
Good. Good.
So there were lots of people, or were the stands full?
Kind of like they have 2 stands. Like half of the stand was full. The stand was full, and the one over here was like half full.
Okay.
So it's like this is the stands, and then just
One and a
here
half,
full. Yeah. So we did the relay. I came second, so I got 3 seconds and 2/3. Yeah.
And the first for
Yeah, the first for shot put.
shot put. Nice, nice. All right. So you're proud. You feel like you've achieved much. What was the best part of the entire meet for you?
When this kid was saying in my classroom that he's faster than me.
And you beat him?
Yeah. The best part.
That was the best part.
Like, you see him faster there? He said, "Okay, I'll take it. It's okay."
All right. So that is DeAndre's recap of his meet. It was rather different, and I think I love the intro when we talk about safety and child-friendly schools and effective schools and raising an awareness of the importance of exercising and working out. I think that was a good start to the day. Instead of doing the match pass, they actually were given drill commands, and they did them, or exercise commands, and they had to do them in sync. And so you got the points not for matching in sync, but for actually doing. I think that is awesome.
The
Pretty
best
cool.
part about it is, like, after every race, not every race, but like 2 or 3, you get watermelon, and then they get you this little bottle of smoothie, and it's like the smoothies are good.
Wow.
Yeah, like have fruit. You could ever have fruit smoothie, a green smoothie, or well, yeah, that's the only a fruit smoothie or a green smoothie.
Who made the smoothies?
I don't know.
You don't know. They just had them
Yeah,
ready.
but it just tastes so good. Like, it's not like those big bottles. They said we can't drink too much because
No,
it's
no.
cold, so we can't drink too
So
much. So
just
they
give you
gave
little
us like
ones.
the little bottles.
Interesting. But it wasn't extremely taxing on the body and the muscles though? Was it that the day, or did you feel like it was more fun and working out?
Mhm.
Which one? Was extremely stressful on the body, or it was a bit more kind of relaxed and fun?
After I ate drink the smoothie, it smelled relaxing.
The smoothie made him relax and have fun. Okay, DeAndre.
Yeah, because like I could just like run and just run after drinking a smoothie, then run
I've
more,
never,
then
Marcellus,
run.
have you ever heard about drinking a smoothie? I'm bringing Marcellus in because he's our resident sports expert here, since I'm not an expert. Marcellus, have you ever heard about drinking smoothies during sports meets? I've never. That's a new one for me. I thought it might have been too cold.
Well, it depends. I mean, I guess people experiment different things nowadays, for the kids especially.
I think so. Maybe, and I don't think it was from what his description, it didn't feel like it was an ultra competitive. It was competitive.
There's more fun
but
on
it
games.
was more fun, focused while competing.
Right.
And I think that was the merit in it. And the smoothies were their motivation.
Yeah, because like you would drink, like you'd run, and you'd be like,
I want a smoothie, so I'll finish.
yeah. Like, you get the smoothie, and then it's like it just makes your day like inside of your body is hot. You drink it, you cool down,
Get-
and then like when you drink it, it's not that sweet. It just tastes like a normal smoothie. But when you run, it's like where you get all this energy from.
Yeah.
And they said like there's sugar in it, but you're not tasting the sugar. That's the thing that like, how could you put sugar in something
But
and
you're
you're
tasting-
not tasting it?
Because you're so immune to sugar that even if something is sweet, it's just
But a
natural.
lot of sugars, you know. I'm like just running and running. I'm like I'm running. I'm not getting tired. I'm just like
Nice.
just like running. Look at it. Like we were saying, if they put something in there.
Oh, nice. Well, I think that, as I said, I'm very much intrigued. I am sorry that I didn't get to witness it because it sounds like it was something that was really fun. And I'm holding out. Although your favorite part was the smoothie
And
and passing the parts were smoothie and winning the specific young man. For me, my favorite part was actually how you started the meet with the because I'm just imagining.
yeah,
seeing
just
it.
be going
Yes,
like this.
Yes. I'm imagining seeing it. About how many persons participated? Was it expected for that the entire school would participate, or was it just select athletes?
No, especially for the whole entire school.
The entire school. Okay. And your school goes from primary,
Kindergarten.
from kindergarten. Okay.
Yeah.
Kindergarten to high school.
Okay. It's okay. Let me see. It's 70 children. Okay, I'm saying it like 70 children because the science teacher has 70 children per week that comes to her classroom,
So it's about that.
except the kindergartners because I don't think kindergartners do.
They're just a general.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the kindergartners. So grade 1, I think, do science. Not sure. Do
Okay.
science. Yeah.
So it's about maybe somewhere between 70 and maybe 80 or maybe 90
Yeah.
students in all. Let's say maybe 100 total. I could imagine it. But thank you, DeAndre, so much for sharing with us so that everybody would get the picture. As I said, I got excited when I heard about that intro. I think I want to steal it. And when I say steal, I want to borrow the best practice. When you have best practices, you try to borrow them and pattern after them. And we encourage everybody to do that. When you see something that's really good, there's nothing wrong with emulating it, with trying it. And so I think that's a good idea. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
When VON vibrates, the whole Caribbean must shake.
860 AM, the powerhouse.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past this quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's youth on the go. Youth on the go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Oh, let's start the show. Let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. There's storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Let's start the show.
go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers on Von Radio's Facebook page, as well as the YouTube channel. And welcome to another edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. We are having a wonderful time this morning because we're kind of capturing some of the activities that are happening. It is the sports season, and we know that the sports season always brings a new life to the island of Nevis. I think the parents and the general community, they absolutely love when it's sports season. And as I say all the time, as we continue to encourage the enthusiasm and the parent participation and the student participation in these activities, we also want to encourage the entire general public to have that same level of enthusiasm in the different activities that the students have to undertake. Before the break, DeAndre was giving us a kind of an overview of what his sports meet looked like, because it already happened, and so we were glad to get that update. And he had one more thing he wanted to add, and so he's going to add that, and then we're going to continue because we want to talk a bit about how to show appreciation and that kind of thing during next week. DeAndre, let's finish up you had one more thought that you wanted to share.
Yeah, it's like the teacher that teaches us, she's like, so like you have to exercise, because if you don't, you'll get cramps, and she don't want that to happen, because she said when you get cramps, it's like you just fall down and you stay there for 5 seconds and it hurts. It's just like when you look at your foot when you have a cramp, it's like your skin just moving and you see it sinking, then it's moving and it hurts. She said that it could like it's either it could tear your muscle or something could happen to your muscle.
And she didn't want any permanent injury.
Yeah, because one time I had a cramp, like I was sleeping and I had this cramp, but I didn't know it was a cramp, so I started moving and it just, like, you know when you have a normal cramp, you just sit there just like, and it hurts. But that one now, I couldn't walk. Like, I got out of bed and it's like, I still feel the pain in my foot. Took me like after I got to school and came back home, that's when it stopped hurting.
Yeah. And so she wants, and I think I that would also warm Marcellus's heart, because as I said, every year he comes here and he talks a bit about how to remain fit, how to keep your muscles warm, how to ensure that you are ready for any sporting activity. And that's one of the things that we talk about every year, DeAndre, the importance of warming up to ensure that you can minimize the occurrences of cramps. You don't want that to happen, because if it happens, yes, it's painful, and you don't want because we don't go through the proper steps to prepare for an event or an activity, that we cause any permanent damage. And so injuries are something that we have to be very mindful of, even in this season. And I know that she took the right steps to make sure that your entire student body did not experience any injuries. And so kudos to her as well, and to all of you for participating and jumping in and making sure that you understood what the expectation was, and that you didn't end up causing any injury because you didn't warm up. All right.
Like, the schools up here need to do recycling, because like we're doing recycling in our school, and it's like which class to get the most recyclables. You could either have a pizza party, an electronic day, or something fun. But like,
Charlestown Secondary has an environmental club, and they've been doing something similar, where the classes compete and they see who can collect and the most recyclables, and then of course they have the different incentives and rewards for students who are recycling. And as the year goes along, we're going to try to ensure that we get as many schools on board, because it's important for us to be environmentally conscious as well, that we take care of our environment as much as possible. And that's something that we want students to know and understand. All right? So, we're good? All right. So, now this week, I know we've talked about sports. There are more sporting events, there are more sporting activities, but we have... Okay, Marcellus, DeAndre talked a lot about injuries. And he said that, you know, what the activity that they did at the beginning of the meet was the coach's way of ensuring that everybody got their bodies a bit warm. And she told them that it wasn't an option. They had to do the exercises because she wanted to ensure that nobody got injured. I thought that it was a very creative way to get them involved in that part, because they were able to get points for warming up. What are your thoughts on the whole prevention of injuries and, of course, the activity at the start of the meet?
Well, I think she did the correct thing. That was the right thing to do, because you got to get the kids ready for activity, because that's what warming up does. It get you ready for the activity you're going to engage in. But, you know, normally every year we do this thing about injuries.
Yes, that's what I was
injuries,
telling DeAndre.
But we'll do that a little later
yes,
on. But
closer.
just a little, I'll just give a little snippet this morning, and it's called Preventing Children's Sports Injuries. And causes of sports injuries. It says participation in any sport, whether it's recreational, bike riding, or or football, can teach kids to stretch their limits and earn sportsmanship and discipline. But any sport also carries the potential for injury. So by knowing the causes of sports injuries and how to prevent them, you can help make athletics a positive experience for your child. Children can be particularly at risk for sports injuries for a variety of reasons. Children, especially those younger than 8 years old, are less coordinated and have slower reaction times than adults because they are still growing and developing. Also, children mature at different rates, with differences in height and weight between kids of the same age. And when children of varying sizes play sports together, there can be increased risk of injury. And as children grow bigger and stronger, the potential for injury increases, largely because of the amount of force involved. For example, a collision between two 8-year-old football players who weigh 65, 70 pounds each does not produce as much force as that produced by two 16-year-old football players who may be each weigh up to 200 pounds. Also, children may not judge the risk of certain activities as well as adults would, which can lead to injuries. So that's just a sneak peek.
A sneak peek.
So we'll
And
get into more
we have
details.
to make sure that we get the full show that's focused on that.
Yes, definitely.
Especially before the school sports meet starts.
Well, yeah, because it's a little way off, but still a lot of the schools are involved in preparing the athletes.
Yes.
And I was speaking to one of the sports persons, and I told her, listen, do not make sure that the children, if they get injured, they are cured properly.
Yes.
Because what you find happening, children as usual, they want to get involved in things. They might have an injury and say, man, I could run.
Yes.
Please make sure that they're cured properly, because that might affect them permanently.
But
so.
Marcellus, lots of times it's not even the teachers or coaches, but the parents.
The parents,
who
yeah.
also push
Yeah, I know,
them
I know.
to do it without ensuring that they have really recovered properly
Very much
from
so.
the injury. And you know, children's bodies heal fast, generally faster than adults. But parents, just because they want the glory hour or the glory time, they tend to push them and say, man, you could do it. And then long term, when it really counts, because it counts more when they can get a scholarship or when they can compete at a different level, as opposed to, you know, right now, the here and now. And sometimes we are very short-sighted and we don't look at the future, that if you run this race today, it will be a good thing because you get to set a record, you get to, but
the long-term implications.
long-term, you might not get to compete and you wouldn't get to the Olympics just because you made an injury worse by running on it or created another issue, because sometimes they actually compete on an injury, and it's just not just running, it's football, it's cricket, any sport. And
one of the things the parents, they have to understand that children are children. They got to rest also. You cannot overwork them. So I know there are instances where they do they work with their coach, and then when they get home, the parents get them out again. So you got to understand that the children are getting this kids thing, and need to get them. The children, they have to rest, and their muscles are not as strong as the older ones. Their bones, they're still developing, so you got to give them time to rest. So you cannot stress them out and have them doing this portion of work. You see, so it's important that parents understand also. It's not just about, and you see, it's the competitive part of it that's ingrained. It's competition, which is also an issue that has to be talked about, because between 5 and 10 years old, the kids, they're developing. You don't put them into competitions. I mean, at the preschool level, people say, yeah, we have this competition and these races. one race could change a child's outlook for forever. They lost that race, and that is it. They don't want to go back.
One of the things that we pushed at the preschool level is the kids athletics.
It's fun and games.
So
it's supposed to be fun and
team,
games.
a lot of team sports, team activities. So when you're doing, in the old days when you're doing the toilet roll, instead of one child running, picking up the toilet roll and trying to tread, what we'll do is one child runs down with the toilet roll, passes it off to the person or holds it for them. They push it through and then they pass it over.
Yeah, teamwork,
so
yeah.
It's about building those skills that they
Definitely,
need to go forward. And the hand-eye coordination and everything,
everything
at the same time, but in a non-threatening,
Non-threatening way.
non-competitive
And safe.
environment. Safe environment.
Because for the coaches, that should be the watchword: safety of the children. Because you want to win, but the winning shouldn't be the first thought. The safety of the children, and especially development, because age and development is are two different things.
Yes.
You might have two 8-year-olds. One is very much more developed than the other.
Yes.
So you got to take this into consideration.
Yes, definitely, and of course their emotional and
State,
psychological state as well,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
each child goes up with a different background. Their home environment is different. Different elements that cause them to not be as they say tough.
Yeah, well, and developed as others.
Emotionally developed and secure. Probably the best way to put it. And sometimes the yelling and shouting, we feel like we're toughening up, but we break them down more.
And that's why it's important that the teachers or the coaches who work with those children, they are trained and they understand. They sing from the same hymn book. They understand what they're doing, because yes, you want to win. It's about, you want to win the championship and, put that one on these big trophies on your wall unit and stuff. But what at the back of your mind is the welfare of the children are important. Even at the senior level, when you coach, the safety and well-being of your athletes, that's the paramount importance. Winning is, but you got to, the welfare, the safety is important. First comes first.
First.
Yeah.
And I'm liking the discussion, because one of the focus areas at the department is the effective schools and the effective schools framework.
Right.
And that part of that is the child-friendly schools.
Child-friendly schools, yeah.
The school and any activity in which they interact related to their schools should create an environment or an atmosphere of safety.
Safety, definitely.
And so the physical safety in terms of, trying to not have things in place that can cause injury, but also the emotional
state,
the emotional safety and the academic safety. Sometimes we forget that. We think
definitely
about the academics, but not the academic safety. And so safety in every single element of their lives, even on the track, as we focus in on a lot on. As I told you, Maslas, I don't know if you've seen them, but the parents, they take their shoes off, they run, their hats on. Sometimes I wonder how they get up the speed and energy, because I know they haven't they haven't run for years. Years. But they're really there, they're on it, they have the stamina. And it's commendable, because they're supporting their children and they're there by their side. And I want to ensure that we underscore that it's important that they support their children. But I want to also caution them that they don't cause further emotional and other injuries
to
physical
the kids,
injuries. And again, to make sure that they support them in everything that they do.
Yeah, as I said,
same level of enthusiasm.
Yeah, the academics and I guess you had this session with the children, the students at the credit union conference, which was very interesting. And some of the things that the children said, and it sort of, jog back a lot of stuff, because it's amazing that at primary school level, the children say they don't have time to play. They're children. They got to have time to play and interact and, and stuff. So you can't just burden them down with this academics, and then they don't have time to, to go out and run and exercise. And one of the things, as someone was saying, back then when you told a child, listen, you're grounded, that was punishment. You've got to stay inside. Now, if you tell a child to get out of the house, that is punishment nowadays. So you got to look at those things. But it's important that I said the coaches understand that and they know that the safety of the children comes first.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if you're like me and you're trying to replace the other twist that was taken to the introductory activity, instead of just matching the idea of having them warm up.
Oh yeah, that's
The
important
importance
because I said you good.
But,
The
but
good.
not just warm up masters. You realize it was for the points. So instead of giving the team that was matching the most in this line best the points, the team that had the most synchronized warm up got the
Yeah, you got to you know, you got to implement in creative ways to get the kids to the thing. It's just like eating and food. Some children say they don't like this and don't like that. If you prepare it, make it attractive in the preparation and stuff, they'll eat everything. Whereas I don't like tomatoes.
Yeah, and sometimes children they tend not to like a certain fruit or vegetable. But the parents, I know parents who give them cauliflower, or they give I know parents who make cauliflower and they grind it up and make it look like rice. I don't know if you've ever heard that, or they make it look like mashed potatoes or something that is more appealing. I've seen on TV, online, on Facebook, where parents take all the vegetables and they cut them out into animal shapes and they rearrange them on the plates for the preschoolers, and they cause them to want to eat them just to be healthy. And so, yes, I agree. And once again, I'm blown away, DeAndre, by the creativity of ensuring that everybody was ready for the meet. It was a very creative approach, and I'm really appreciative of that. And it does demonstrate the effective schools, child-friendly schools atmosphere engenders that. So kudos. You can let your coach know that I really love it, and I think that it was a great idea.
Okay, I have one more thing to say. You see how Valentine's is coming up, right? Yesterday I went to Youth, you know, Sister Carmen passed it on. Okay, we went to Youth yesterday, so we were talking about what love mean and those type of things. Like, you'd ask everybody, like, what does love mean? And, like, nobody knows what love means.
Oh, boy.
Yes, sometimes it's a strong feeling and something like that. So we made cards, like, they gave us a name. We made cards to that person, and then they put it in an envelope, and then the person called names. So we did early Valentine's last night because, like, the last time that we're gonna do Youth again is like the week after next week, and that will be
you
a
do it every
long
other
way.
week.
Yeah, that would be a long.
And you really
fast.
wanted to do it this week so that you could follow up in the conversation.
Yeah.
All right. So I know we're talking a lot about sports and athletics, and I want to take this opportunity to encourage all of those persons within the sound of my voice to sign up as volunteers for the upcoming Interprimary Championship. We know that we've asked, there's an all-call, there's an announcement on community calendar asking for persons who are interested in volunteering to sign up now at the department or Ministry of Education, Marion Heights. You can just call and we'll be glad to take your information and follow up with you so that we can do the necessary preparations for the meet. I know that there are many people in the community who have been volunteering for different activities and even for the Interprimary Championships, but we want to take this opportunity to encourage all of you once again to sign up so that we can build your name into the database. If you have been working and you're still interested in working, please sign up so that we can record that and have a current listing of all the persons who are interested. So once again, if you're interested in volunteering, and that means if you're in secondary school, because secondary schoolers can volunteer, all the way up to adulthood, and you have been volunteering for Interprimary for years, or you've never volunteered but you've looked on and you've said, I wish I could do that, I wish I could help. We have some persons who are past athletes who know of the rules of track and field or want to get to know the rules a bit more, and you want to be of some assistance on the day on April 3rd. We encourage you to sign up so that your name can be recorded and that we can help you to become empowered and teach you some of the things that you need to know to make sure that the event runs smoothly. We want to build capacity. Part of education is building capacity, even in an informal setting. And so we want to build your capacity and your ability to act as officials during the meet and to build that pool of volunteers that will be so important going forward in any other activity or meet. So my final call, I'm going to make a call before I leave again, but final call this round. If you are interested in volunteering for the 2019 Gulf Insurance Inter-Primary Championships, please sign up at the Department or Ministry of Education, and we will record your information. And of course, we'll be in touch with you as we organize a few training sessions. Those are afoot, but we would need for you to be signed up so that we can contact you and you can make the necessary provisions. We'll give you the information in terms of dates of training, and of course, we'll get information from you as well. It will also help us in terms of getting your proper attire for the event. If you're not accounted for beforehand, it's hard to order for you. And so there are many things that we have to take into consideration prior to the day of the meet. We want to do that early. The deadline is this week, this Friday. So if we can get you signed up by Thursday, we will be able to have a full solid list by Friday of those persons who are interested in being officials and volunteers for the event. So of course they're all volunteers, but some persons want to officiate. You know, they might want, and you want to be a track marshal, you want to be scorer, you want to be anything along that line. We would have to have the necessary listings and training. And so please sign up. Let us know if there's a specific area you're most interested in, or if you have a top 2 or top 3, and we will do our best to place you and have a smooth flow for the volunteer process and the officials for the 2019 edition of the Gulf Insurance Inter-Primary Championship. All right, DeAndre, I want to make sure that I go over the dates for the sports meets as well, because although we've been talking a lot about sports and activities, we want to encourage everybody to go out and support all of the schools. And knowledge is power. So if the people know, they can go. Hey, that's a good slide. It's a good theme. If they know, they can go, right? However, if they don't know, it's more difficult for them to attend. And we want to give the information out. We already had the Maud Smith Preschools meet on February 1st. Then on the 20th of February, that's in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, we're going to have the Charlestown Primary School sports meet, and that event is at the Mondo Track, the Nevis Athletic Stadium, better known as the Mondo Track, on February 20th. 21st, Gingerland Secondary will have their meet. And then on the 22nd, VOJN Primary, 26th, Elizabeth Pemberton Primary, 28th, Cicely Brown Integrated. March 1st, we'll see the Ivor Walters Primary School, and they're also moving to the Nevis Athletic Stadium, or Mondo Track. Then the 5th, we'll have the St. James Primary School. The 6th, BNJ's Preschool and the St. Thomas's Primary School. The 7th, Nevis Academy and the Joycelyn Library Primary. 8th, the Maud Cross Preparatory and Gingerland Pre. The 10th, Charlestown Secondary. 14th, Naomi's Daycare and Preschool. 15th, Combermere Preschool and Montessori Academy. 22nd, Ines France Preschool. 25th, Vernon Lou Preschool. And then the 29th, we'll have the Charlestown Preschool. They'll bring up the rear when it comes to the school level sports meets. Once again, remember that the preschools are mostly focused on kids athletics and building an environment where the students can build their interaction, teamwork, and hand-eye coordination, and not as much focused on the competitive element of the sports meet. And then on the 16th and 17th, we'll have the Nevis High School Championships. And that activity will take place at the Nevis Athletic Stadium as well. All 3 high schools in Nevis will compete in the Nevis High School Championships. That's prior to going down to St. Kitts for the Inter-High School Championship. I know that one is very popular as well. But the Nevis High School Championship has really gotten some momentum, and last year the turnout was tremendous, and we want to encourage you to support just the same once again. And then on the 3rd of April, we are going back to the Nevis Athletic Stadium for the 2019 edition of the Gulf Insurance Interprimary Championship. Those are the many dates, lots of things going on. And in that vein, reminder, volunteers are needed, volunteers are wanted. We're looking out for you to sign up at the ministry or Department of Education and share your interest in being a volunteer for the 2019 edition of the Gulf Insurance Interprimary Championship. You have to get your names in by next week, or it will be difficult to get you through the proper training, as well as to get the resources we need to share with you. And if you are a student, if you are a high schooler, you're free to sign up, because we use the skills of the high schoolers especially to assist and escort the students to and from one area, to and from the various areas, from the athletes village down to the track and vice versa. For the relays, we need some extra hands, but you can't do it and do it well if you're not trained, because you'll go and you'll make mistakes that you could have avoided had you been trained. So we want to have all of our volunteers signed up by February 15th. Our new target, our early target is February 14th, so that we're ready and have a final list by February 15th to execute. DeAndre, many exciting things happening next week. We'll have to focus in on a bit more on what is love. We started talking about it, but we'll make next week the Valentine's edition at least a portion of the show, so that we can share with persons how they should treat each other with respect. We do it every year, and so this week you're going to have your various Valentine's activities. Please note that you should, above all else, you love God, you love yourself, and then everything else should fall in place. As students, it is most important that you appreciate who you are and grow to love who you are as a person, and not focus in on whether or not you're getting candies or gifts. And you should, parents, make sure that you're the ones buying them whatever they need to get, and that they see that you also appreciate them all year round. But during this time of year, when all of their friends are getting lots of treats and candies and balloons and teddy bears, that they understand that your presence and your love and your warmth is felt now and always, and that you can all have a very happy Valentine's Day for those who celebrate that day. Wish you a very happy Valentine's Day, that you would enjoy the activities and stay safe as you can, and to ensure that you interact well with each other and you don't do anything to make anybody feel small. Sometimes you try to embarrass people during this time of year. Oh, you didn't get anything, or you didn't. Let's try not to do that. Especially in the schools, there are many reasons why people might not get something during that time. We wish you a very wonderful week, and we look forward to joining you next week when we can share some more with you. Until then, make sure that you remain safe, that you remain focused, and parents and community, that you remain involved in the lives of our students. Have a wonderful week.